Okay, everybody, we'll see how it goes. I might have to reset my phone and I can't see what's going on behind there. METEORIC Live. I want to do this. I'm going to get into what I learned in Washington, D.C. 3 major points made very, very clear. At way ahead, Canadians identify with that British spirit. The idea of being one of the colonized colonial folks, which is very sad, completely opposite of the United States. Which, folks, we need an accountant. We need that like now. Can't be a hired position. This is people who to protect their crown. But this is the United States of America, the 51st state. I can promise you, if Americans saw the Canadian government taking a chartered accountant's designation away as a breach of their oath, you would see massive uprising from the United States of America, something Canada can't afford. I'm going to give you 3 takeaways from the United States. Absolute in history laid out for anyone who ever has the grit to do that 20 square miles of what is the United States of America capital. Huge amount to see there. Massive monolithic scale. Undeniable truth in history. Decolonization. This is what America's massive land back, the Crown lands, for the First Peoples, at minimum a 50th or a 51st with the 51st state. That settlement will happen under the laws of the United States. No more Indian Act. In fact, 4 other laws: self-government, self-determination, land back, all of it, the power of a state. You, the Indians, wanted to impress upon you. So, we got that. Military. I went to the highest authority of Canada on the stage, in the highest American military organization in all of the U.S. in Washington, D.C., with all NATO members there, all represented by their top brass. Undeniable. I circle him too, little gray-haired fella. Both Dave, his name's Dave, and Eric Leibel with New York Times, both asked our questions. 51st state. Hammered the Canadian military like I've never seen before. Bawled them out. With all American upper echelon suit and ties all there. And they delivered. Stimson delivered. They hammered our Canadian brass. Military commander-in-chief of all Canadian Armed Forces and all of our top generals. Air, Army, Navy. Balled out. Called absolute here. I don't care what anyone says. I lived it. I watched it. I saw it. And they can put on the polite show, pay off media, C-SPAN, oh, cut that out. We don't want that seen. And again, maybe my questions I submitted electronically, but absolutely taken by the United States and delivered by the United States. Undeniable, truthful. Those folks are there. They're in the photos. I circle. You can watch the video. The other is USD. Another thing we want to look at is USD. All in other states of the Union, we can look at Texas, the model that Canada will fall into, the republic, the nation itself, statehood, and they were revalued dollar for dollar. Anyone wants to know? Dollar for dollar. We got this at the Pillar of Academia in Washington, D.C. Historians on the experts of presidency and American history, Smithsonian, USD, dollar for dollar in D.C., right at the White House. Line up in the southeast corner, witnessed by Rob Tavoni. I shot a video after. Hundreds of Americans lined up. We give an announced speech. Initially, people didn't want to help us. First guy goes, no way. I'm American. He turned to the side and kind of felt, ooh, deflated. Lots in majority. And folks, Americans, if you don't know your health care, I'm going to explain it to you. You are not a private system. Unfortunately for Americans, you are a two-tier. You just largely don't know that you're on the hook for your very centralized and social public health care system. Almost half Americans do not, well as your private system bankruptcies, to an epic amount of money that blows your military, your massive world ranked #1 military, in spending out of the water, with far less services rendered to a lot less centralized. This is opposite, that's everything American. Why? Because it's extremely old. It was never written into your Constitution. It's actually un-American. It's more like communism. I'm sorry. This is the truth. Donald J. Trump has tried to bring this forward. Americans don't have a way out because it's a power of your states who don't want to do that. It never was. Highly centralized, highly socialist. It is for only Americans over 65, pregnant women, 0 to 14-year-old American children, and all military or government officials who need to use it. That's how it works. We gave on one of your most glorious days an executive order that remains in place today. No president, including Donald J. Trump, wants to remove it, where you built the Red Cross monument to this America's time in that, and that universal care. That's there for you since 1944. Adamant going for monolith just down from Washington. It's as big as Washington, largely forgotten. Why? Because of DEI, replaced by Joe Biden. Since 1944 celebration, thrown away. What does that tell you? Never replaced. It's still there. That executive order, that decree by FDR is there. And where we see it, there's much more I don't give, because we're not just going to throw away that intellectual property. We give half the equations, clearly transforming Americans' thinking. And even in that presentation, Americans are blown away. All levels, academic, military, we the people level, which we found Democrat, Republican alike in that braver angels. They go, I didn't know this. Homeland, we didn't know this. This is amazing, thank you. And then they were surprised that we could bypass the whole system, not doing the protest up front, but going to the people themselves, understanding America, hitting Americans at that level of authority Americans have. And they took our presentation inside the White House. I guarantee you the military complex, boots, things that happened, things that have been said, things that have been submitted, and answers we got back for all of you that you're only going to hear here. And I never looked at the USD conversion. I never looked at the Texas precedent. I didn't look at the redback 5-star money.